The signal that we've been waiting for has flashed on altcoins, on Ethereum, on Bitcoin, and this is a signal that we don't get a lot actually. And the times we did get this signal, money was made, and this money wasn't made by the bears. So let's see what's going on right here, because it looks like the third leg, sounds gay, I know, but it looks like the third leg in the altcoin market is starting. And I don't want to cheer too soon. It could be a false signal. It could, definitely. But if we have to believe history, then this is just the moment where we make a lot of money. So welcome to the FOMO Factory. Like the video if you already like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Welcome. Don't get dragged. Don't FOMO in. Is it too late now? No. But don't wait any longer, I would say. Not financial advice, don't sue me. And turn the bell notification on. Now, first, I do want to talk about something that you may have seen in the title or the thumbnail or whatever. The pump fund token scam. And I called it a scam. Yeah, little clickbait, but maybe not. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Well, the pump fund token has a lot of, hype, and a lot of people participated in that pre-sale. I skipped it with full glory. Now, why did I skip the pump fund token in full glory? And if you did participate, why you want to consider getting rid of it as soon as possible? I'm gonna show you that right now. First of all, though, I don't get why Ren from Crypto Banter is constantly posting that this token should go to around $8. I hope that he is joking, and I hope that his audience knows that he is joking. Unfortunately, this is, of course, not going to happen, and a lot of people, they may have taken it serious, and they are going to get completely wrecked because, hey, a lot of people, they don't do that research. It's what it is, right? They see a crypto influencer, especially big one as him, right, post something and to be like, okay, I'm gonna hold until $8. Like, let's be real, okay? Let's be real. This token, when it's at 6 cents, or half a cent, sorry, it sits at a $7 billion valuation. For the people that have no clue about this, that's a 7 billion FDV. 7 billion FDV. Now, to put that in perspective, what a $7 billion FDV looks like, yeah, that would put it somewhere here. Now, this is initial. This is like circulating. Okay, fair enough. It's at a 1.5 initial. So that would put it somewhere around the top 50 already, right? Around the top 50. Now, I want to say that Ren is happily posting that this token could go to around $6 or even $8-10 price. Let's say 6, right? Let's FUD. That would mean a $6 trillion market cap. Now, for everybody with a single brain cell, the total crypto market is now valuated at around 3.6 trillion. So it seems a little unlikely to me that this token alone will be worth twice as much as the total crypto market, and therefore I have another reason to say that you should not follow this right here. But what I find a little suspicious about the pump fund token is they released their tokenomics, and someone said, Gainsey has a separate 3% allocation in the pump fund token, 120 at ICO prices, right? And what he means by that, it's a joke, right? 3% goes to live streaming. Now, I do want to think about the fact that, 3% at IDO price, right? That's 120 million. IDO price. Okay. Live streaming, 3%. 120 million. Why do you need like 120 million to go live stream? Where do you want to live stream? On the fucking Super Bowl? So I do think that it's maybe a little, like, I have no idea. The team gets 20%. That should be concerning as hell. If the team was really convinced in their own project with this valuation, they would say like, oh man, 2% is enough. But taking 20%, 1/5 of the total value of this token for the team, that kind of means that they calculated in that the token has enough wiggle room to the downside, so it could still be very profitable for the team, because 20%, I think that's close to stealing. But apart from that, I do think that I don't know why this should be good for the space. As you can see, the tokens launched on Pump Fun is steadily declining. And of course, it has something to do with that the whole market, the altcoin market at least, is in a downtrend from this point. But it's pretty clear that going from 70K daily tokens to now about 25K daily tokens, people are getting sick of it. And the ratio between the launched tokens and the graduating tokens is also getting very bad. So it also means that the risk on Pump Fun is getting higher, and people are getting sick of it now. Also, there are different ways, different platforms that are being used these days. Bank, for example, has a whole ecosystem around it, and they at least share their revenue, their fees directly with the bank holders, or at least by burning the bank token. And I think that Pump Fun is losing its momentum, and yeah, at the lowest point, you know, dropping an ICO with such a high valuation is stupid, and it might get some hype at the beginning, but I would say if there is a way to short this token, that's probably the best way to make money in this crypto market. Now let's go to the second best way to make money in this crypto market, and that's by looking at the relative safe altcoin market. Not a lot of gambling. It's already gambling enough if you're in crypto, right? So there were a couple things that we spoke about a month ago, 2 months ago maybe, and I said like, hey guys, this is brewing, and if this plays out, it gets crazy. And it looks like a lot of things have played out right now, and this is a signal that you definitely don't want to miss. But you know, Bitcoin at $118,000, it is absolutely crazy. It's nicely in price discovery, and you might say like, well, yeah, it's stalling out a little bit right now. It's nothing too crazy. When Bitcoin went into price discovery right here, it also stalled out for a while before, you know, went up here. It stalled out for a long time. Price discovery doesn't necessarily mean that it's, you know, a green candle after green candle after green candle on every single time frame, right? So be a little patient with Bitcoin. I still think that $118,000 is relative low compared to where it might go in the rest of the market. And why do I say that? Think about it. Why is Bitcoin going up? Nobody has a clue, right? Yeah, ETFs are buying. Yeah, ETFs are buying. Okay, that's it, right? That's it. What could potentially come? What drove Bitcoin up in the previous markets, and therefore altcoins, which we're going to discuss in this video most, because that's where the magic is going to happen right now? Well, think about this for a second. There is at the moment still pretty much no retail. There's still QT going on. There are no rate cuts yet. Ren is still allowed on Twitter. Trump and Elon are still fighting. There's still tariffs, and there are still wars going on. I absolutely am convinced that if a move like this could happen because the bad news is not that bad, then with actual good news, the market, you know, it's being held on the water like a big beach ball, and it's gonna come up at a certain point. It's being suppressed so extremely hard, right? Could the bad news get worse? Sure, definitely. We always need a reason to go down in the meantime, right? But overall, if we get QT to stop, if we maybe even get QE, if we get rate cuts, if some wars are going to end, if Trump and Elon are going to take baths hand in hand again, whatever, all that kind of stuff, combined? Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. So that's with the narratives. Now, we spoke not too long ago about what coins I think are best to buy. And I spoke mostly about Ethereum. This was the brain that buy right here. And it's sitting nicely twice as high right now. Ethereum had a fantastic run in the last couple of months, and it is sitting at some big resistance at the moment, some vertical diagonal resistance right now. But I must say, diagonals are not as important as the horizontal resistance, as the momentum, etc., etc. We will break that at a certain point. Now, like Alex Becker also said, once we get ETH to run, then also will run, definitely. Now, there are some indicators that have a 100% win rate so far, and they indicated something very bullish for the altcoin market. They also indicated something very bullish for Bitcoin, but that indicator went off a long time ago already, and this is the result, what we are seeing right now, right? It's absolutely fantastic. So, by the way, I've drawn this curve right here, and it looks to be pretty on point. So that could suggest that the next bear market, if the seasonality plays out, could be somewhere around 50, 60K. Yeah, it's random, but who knows? What indicator am I talking about? I am talking about the RSI. The RSI is a great momentum indicator, but I'm not just looking at the RSI. I am looking at the RSI, purple line, and the moving average of the RSI. Because if the RSI gets above its moving average, it basically means that the momentum is better than average, and therefore you see more price appreciation, right? Make sense? So what we have seen for Bitcoin right now is we have seen that the RSI crosses its moving average, right? What happened? Well, what happened is that when it crossed, Bitcoin had a run from 75K to so far almost 120K. Yeah, okay, that's one point, right? Is that spectacular? No, but you can also see every single time, and let me do it blindly so you know exactly that this has no invalidations, basically, almost. It sometimes gives a false stop, but still then, that was a good move. When the RSI crosses its moving average, like here, like here, like here, and like here was COVID, so therefore it gave a cross, got back down, got the cross again, right? But still, here. And let's say here, I can go back full history, by the way, let's do this. Now let's look on the price chart to see what the price did with every one of these crosses. And there are some more still, right? Here, the pump was huge. Here, kind of beginning of the bull market. Here, beginning of that bull market. Here, huge leg up, right? And again, this was actually meant to be this move, right? But then we got COVID, we got back down, and then we got the move again, which resulted in the bull market. But even before COVID invalidated it, it was a 65% move. 65 for Bitcoin, right? And here, we got out of the bear market. Every single time. And look, it's not a guarantee. It's not guaranteeing anything, okay? But it does show that being bearish on assets that look like this right now is betting literally against every odd in the history of crypto, right? It's not that Bitcoin moves up because the RSI crosses, right? It's the other way around. The RSI or Bitcoin goes up, therefore the RSI eventually crosses, and that gets you into a bullish momentum, which leads to higher prices. So 100% win rate. Now, this is what we spoke about, like I said, 1 month, 2 months ago, or something like that, when we saw this cross, right? 2 months. However, I said, like, hey, for a lot of other charts, this is, coming, but not really there yet. Now, we saw it for Bitcoin. We see how it's playing out so far. From the moment that it crossed, Bitcoin is up with 60%, right, so far. And we'll see how far this move goes. I think that eventually the local top, not the D top, but the local top should be 130K, but it's purely based on FIP extension. Right? How does it look on other things though? Because there are now other signals that are flashing. What is a good indication for altcoins? Your individual altcoin, of course. But if you want to take a look at the overall altcoin market, because if the overall altcoin market just goes up, then there's a good chance that your altcoin, if it's not a complete trash coin, also goes up, right? Well, ETH. Ethereum is the biggest altcoin out there. Ethereum, I have no clue how people can be bearish on ETH actually. It has the most activity on chain. It's the biggest layer one in every single metric, basically. The inflows are completely crazy. The stable coins and the institutions building on ETH is absolutely insane. The staking for the ETFs goes like it's insane. Right now, we just saw the cross for Ethereum happen as well. Last time this happened was here, and I must say, look, if you look at this right here, this RSI was kind of a false cross, right? Well, it wasn't a false cross, but it wasn't a sustainable cross, right? It crossed, got a little up, got back down again. So therefore, I would say like, hey, don't cheer too soon. It could happen, right? Could happen. Although most of the times we cross, it's more of a sustainable move, but hey, it could. But even in such a failed attempt, what happened to the price of Ethereum? Well, in this failed attempt, you can see we got the cross, and from bottom to top, Ethereum went up 60%, right? 60%. That's pretty amazing, actually. We just got that cross again. So far, it depends a little on where you take it. If you want to take it from here, right before the cross, actually, up to now, we are now up, almost 40%. I think that this could go a lot higher. And again, I don't want to take you back in full history, otherwise this video is going to take a little too long, of when these crosses took place. But, one example here was the latest real cross, right? When was that? Ethereum basically came out of the bear market from, $1,500 and ran to $4,000. And the time before that was here, and that was the full alt season Ethereum bull market. Okay, cool. So let's talk about alt season in that case, because we have seen a lot of metrics that suggest that Bitcoin is indeed outperforming. But when it comes to alt season, Bitcoin season, it's far Bitcoin season, and therefore you want to prepare for alt season, right? You don't want to get into Bitcoin when it's flashing Bitcoin season already. Then you're kind of too late. So let's take a look at that. And we looked at, that what I just described, the Bitcoin dominance, the risk levels being more flashing than ever, the dominance for Bitcoin, ETH, and stables sitting at an extremely range high at the moment, right? If you look at this chart right here, if this was a coin, I would sell. And I would sell under the idea like, hey, could it have a temporary breakout and we'll miss out on some extra gains? There's always a possibility, right? But this is such an oscillating chart, right? Bottom, top, market cycles, right? Accumulation, uptrend, distribution, downtrend. Accumulation, uptrend, distribution. Like that's distribution is just where you sell. Like you don't buy there, right? If you agree with that, then you agree with the fact that it's now wise to be in alts, right? It could oscillate a little longer. It could have a fake out above. Again, it's all possible. But do you really want to bet your money on the fact that that might or might not happen? That just doesn't look like the smart move to me, actually, right? This chart eventually will go down. And that kind of means that money flows from Bitcoin, ETH, and or stables into altcoins. That's what we talked about for a long time. Now, do we have more confirmation that that's likely to happen? Well, again, we just saw that monthly RSI cross on ETH. Again, pretty close to perfect metric. Like, that's like, if you just trade that, you won't time the bottom and the top exactly, but you would have outperformed 99%. right? And that's what it's all about. If we then look at alt season metrics, and what's a good alt season metric? ETH on its Bitcoin pair, right? ETH outperforming Bitcoin. ETH is the biggest altcoin. Outperforming Bitcoin has always been an indicator that alt season is happening, right? If we now look at this chart, purely like this, ETH Bitcoin bounced off a major macro level that it bounced off at the end of 2019, beginning 2020 as well, causing a huge Ethereum run. Ethereum went from $160 to $5,000. To be fair, it was also because Bitcoin was going up during that same time with 10x. I don't expect Bitcoin to go 10x from this level. It could, I don't know. Hey, anything is possible, but it's not my fastest horse bet, actually. So I don't think that Ethereum is gonna do a 35x from this point. But then again, some people, they say that Ethereum cannot even go higher than 10K. That's a 3x from this point. A 3x. We just came from this level. We are barely up, right? And what you notice, we just, if you zoom in enough, and got that cross on Ethereum Bitcoin, right? Again, this is not the confirmation, but this has barely any up to no invalidations. So it's just more for me to confirm my whole thesis right now that this is going to be an insane run. Again, I said barely up to no invalidations. If you look at this right here, hey, that was like, not that you would say like, whoa, this is the Ethereum run, right? No, that was this right here. But still, Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin here, and not even from wick to wick, right? But just full body, 12% in a month, right? What we're having right now at 8% this month, right? The only difference is that here, Bitcoin wasn't almost 120K, right? So if ETH or alts now outperform Bitcoin at the same pace as before, while Bitcoin is sitting way higher, then there is a crap load of money flowing into these altcoins. And I don't see Bitcoin stopping around these levels at all. I think it makes zero sense to be bearish on Bitcoin right now. Prepare for the worst, definitely. Like at a certain point, price discovery, turnaround, you get a bear market before you know it, right? Indicator-wise, narrative-wise, chart-wise, sentiment-wise, seasonality, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. If you look at the full move, right, this is, again, the worst example that we had with such a cross ever, right? And even if you look at the full move, it's 28%. If you compare it to the full move right now, it's 13%, right? So if we repeat the worst so far, then Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair will in total, go up 28%, which is sitting at let's round it up, 0.03 sats, right? Which is still a long way from here. So this cross, very happy to see that. The last time before that we got that cross was here, as you can see right here. That was this point where we got to that macro bottom, stalled out for a bit, crossed, huge move. We now got to the macro bottom, stalled out, not even a double bottom or anything, just actually more strength as back then, right? RSI coming from lower, more oversold. It looks better right now. Now, there's more. What's there? Well, let me show you this one. When it comes to altcoins, right, you might feel like Ethereum, even if it goes to 15K, that's just a 5x from here, right? Some people are doing this for more than a 5x. Personally, I'm very happy if I take a 5x from this point, but I get that, it's more degen space than that. So let's take a look at the Total 3 ES. Total 3 ES is everything excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoin. So every altcoin in the top 125 collectively, right? And then we get this chart. This chart is... this is crypto porn for me. Like, this is beautiful, beautiful. Not only we just got that cross again, it also shows you how perfectly it gave the cross as we bounce perfect off of this trend line right here. I remember being very bullish right here. And of course, it is always risky. Like, yeah, but what if we break the trend line? The risk is always there. But you should also ask yourself, what if not? And what if the trend is your friend until the end of the trend? And then this. Then you would have bought certain lows on altcoins, which you are now already up on a lot, while the bullish momentum is kind of just starting, right? It's really insane. It's really insane. Going to the top of this channel would mean, yeah, it depends on when it happens. Could be anywhere from 2 trillion up to 2.5 trillion in the altcoin market, in the high cap altcoin market. That's a lot of money. Like 3 months ago, that was our total crypto market, including Bitcoin. That's insane, right? The money is already there, right? It just has to flow into alts. And it's kind of crazy that you see that Bitcoin, hey, it got that cross, it got that surge. Ethereum now got the cross, it's now searching. Now we get the total altcoin market just getting that cross, right? And it's already gaining momentum. The Bitcoin dominance is not going up while the Bitcoin is going up right now, right? The money is flowing relatively more into everything else but Bitcoin, right? Not by a lot, but it is. Otherwise, we have seen the Bitcoin dominance going up, right? Plus, the total crypto market is also going up, right? The total crypto market is also going up. So that automatically should increase the Bitcoin dominance, as Bitcoin dominance is also measured against alt or against stable coins. But the Bitcoin dominance instead is going down. And not by a lot, but it's not that I'm saying like, hey, we have one red candle, it's alt season right now. Definitely not. But it is showing like, hey, when we have this breakout right now, yeah, of course, Bitcoin is making the headlines because Bitcoin is in price discovery. But percentage-wise, it's not making most gains. And that could indicate that a certain rotation is slowly already kind of happening right now. But back to the altcoin chart. If you look at this, we just got that cross. Right now, I talked about that third leg. What do I mean by that? Well, Bitcoin is kind of up, sideways, down, up, sideways, down, up. Like that's how Bitcoin moves. Altcoins, you can see we had in this cycle so far 2 big legs, right? 1, 2. And here we spoke about potentially getting the third. We just had that cross. Again, I'm obsessed with this cross. But it's because it is so accurate. It is so accurate. And it kind of already confirmed because look how much the altcoin market is already up. It's not like, whoa, big alt season. But then again, these are pretty decent gains if you bought somewhere around the recent lows. Now, again, the last time we got that cross was here. That was the November-December run, where a lot of alts made insane gains, actually, right? On this chart, it's not even that spectacular. It's more because low caps had more shine back then, and this only includes high caps, right? You could say like, it went from 300 billion to 903x. A lot of coins went up more than 3x, you know, right? But that was our November-December run. When before that, did we have that cross? Here. Hey, start of the bull market this cycle, right? So the only 2 times we got this cross in this cycle has led to the only 2 explosive moves. And we just had the third. I get that you want to be cautious, and that's good, that's responsible. You should. But I think it's also wise that you should also realize that now could actually finally be the time to get that move again, right? Being cautious but being optimistic, you can combine that, and I think that that's really really wise to do, and not to be stuck like, well, yeah, no, but what, no, if the but and the what and the if they really applied and things were not that good, then we would have not seen this cross happening, then we would have not seen the altcoin market making a 40% gain from 50 from the recent local lows, right? Then that wouldn't happen in the first place, right? I remember a lot of people being mad here, like, nah, it will never happen. Here we are. It is happening. It happened, right? And we are just getting started, right? So a lot of people, unfortunately, already missed out because they used the four most dangerous words in crypto. This time is different. Apparently not. And that's beautiful if you are bullish in a bull market, right? It is an altcoin bull market, definitely, right? This is going up. Look, this is an altcoin bear market. Then again, it's the stage of the market, of the cycle still, where altcoins are underperforming against Bitcoin. And that's true. And that's not necessarily different. It takes a little longer this time. Yeah, I agree. But apart from the length, it all doesn't really look that different. But the alt season charts are now also showing that it's getting time, right? Again, ETH Bitcoin crossed. We got that, right? So there's that. Now there are a couple other alt season charts when it comes to the RSI that still have to confirm, but they're heading into the right direction. And what I think is also a good indicator, Cardano. Cardano, one of the dinosaur coins. Nobody cares about it. I think it will easily 5x. I've bought Cardano at somewhere 58 cents, I think. And the Cardano dominance, look, I've showed this chart before. And this is one of the most fascinating charts in crypto, in my opinion. Why is that? Because what we are doing right now is pretty much a copy of last cycle, where you have the huge move up, go down, huge move up, go down, find the bottom exactly here, find the bottom exactly there, right? Bounce exactly to that point, go down, stall out, right? Go down, stall out, huge move up to this point right here, to 1.35%. Again, exactly to that level. Go down one more time to find the actual bottom. Go down one more time to hopefully find the actual bottom, and then shows the strength. And what now confirms the shit out of this for me is that when we got that move up, right, where we finally got our final push, that's where the RSI in this case bounced off the moving average and went up, right? And here, it didn't bounce. It broke below it, but it crossed. I like the cross, right? Last time it crossed was here. What happened right there? Cardano dominance shot up like crazy because Cardano was one of the bigger performers at the end of the last year. It went absolutely nuts for such a high cap, right? Yeah. Time before that, where it crossed, was here. The dominance for Cardano went from 80% or 0.80 to 1.5%. And you might be like, yeah, that's not even a 2x. Yeah, 2x against the rest of the crypto market. Against the rest of the crypto market, the total crypto market. Let's overlay the total crypto market on this. What do you see happened right here? The total crypto market went up really hard. So Cardano, bam. Also, price-wise, I have to check how much in dollars it was actually, but price-wise, it did absolutely fantastic right there. In where was that? November 2023. Where's that? November 2023, right? Was here, right? So if you take it from here, like 24 cents, 28, let's say 25, it went to 80. You know, 3x for a high cap coin. Easy. It's insane. So that's a pretty nice indicator to me, actually. And man, it would. I wouldn't be surprised if Cardano just goes to like $4 or something like that this cycle, actually. Now, what are some indicators that we are still waiting on? So we had the total altcoin market, which just confirmed. But then again, yeah, it's a money rotation. We see Bitcoin fly. Now we see Ethereum fly. And now we see also, hey, Cardano outperforming, right? Cardano having that cross as well. But yeah, if you look at slightly lower cap altcoins, they don't have that yet, right? So that's the money rotation. Now, if you look at the total altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair, right? So this is the alt season chart, right? You cannot get a better alt season chart than this one. Look, this is not cross yet, right? But it's heading into the right direction at least, right? So this shows us like, hey, it's not a run yet where altcoins outperform, but it's heading there. Could throw a curveball in the meantime, right? It was heading here, over there as well, right? But it's now heading there. But altcoins now go up because Bitcoin goes up. And depending on your altcoin, you could outperform it. But it doesn't mean you should be in Bitcoin, in my opinion. Again, all these charts suggest like, hey, like I said, top of Bitcoin season right now, basically, right? Bitcoin dominance risk completely flashing and everything. Yeah, why be in Bitcoin now? Now, I think it's interesting to see how this chart works, though, because again, I've said this before, but alt season, right? Altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, bear market, sideways, swipe the lows, cross, right? Bull! Bear market, swipe the low, bear market, ranges, swipe the low. Then we got the cross, bull, right? Now, bear market, ranges, we didn't have the cross yet. So it could be that we stay here for a little while, and then maybe the cross, and that would be the alt season. Saw one of latest videos of Alex Becker saying that this is the worst altcoin bear market ever. Time-wise, yes. Price-wise, by fucking far, it isn't. Right? If you look at altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, they actually just went down with 63%. Right? Last cycle, yeah, was 88%. If we get 88% this cycle, people won't survive that, man. People won't survive that. But this all looking so extremely bullish, in my opinion. Same goes for the Ethereum dominance, right? How much Ethereum is dominating. And it's kind of the same chart as the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation. Also, for the first time ever, really oversold. Came out of the exact same macro level as the last cycle before it went into a bull market. Had a huge pump from that level, and it happened to get that cross right here as well. Again, it could be like this maybe, but man, combine it with everything else and it looks hopeful, to say the least. Now, what do we want to see go down? Like we spoke about this chart right here, Bitcoin ETH stable dominance. Hey, at least the monthly it's not stochastic. The monthly RSI is now pointing down. Right? It's now pointing down. So it's heading into the right direction. And on the weekly, we just got that cross. Yeah, it's a lower time frame. But then again, last time we got that cross on the weekly was here. When was that? November 2024, our November run, right? And we just got that again. Only difference is we're now coming from a higher level, so we have more room to go down. That's nice, right? So yeah, of course, you got wrecked as an altcoin holder. But therefore you want to buy the lows because there's so much more room to go down right now. So that's looking beautiful. Bitcoin dominance, you want to see the Bitcoin dominance go down, of course. Now, I don't know how accurate the Bitcoin dominance indicator actually is, as it measures Bitcoin against everything, right? Stables, all of that. Yeah, I don't care about stables. I'm not investing in those, right? And then again, we just got the cross, so it's nice to see. On the monthly, though, still a long way to go, right? The monthly, we're still very high. For the first time ever, the Bitcoin dominance is sitting at an oversold area, but it is pointing down right now. What I think is more interesting is the Bitcoin dominance excluding stable coins, right? This shows how altcoins actually do against Bitcoin. And yeah, less history, but kind of same chart, right? Sitting at the range high, as far we have history about the range, at least. And the monthly RSI is now nicely putting down. Real kind of look. It kind of looks like it's losing momentum. And on the weekly, we got that cross as well. Now, a lot of people, they like to look at Benjamin Cowan. Maybe not at him, but his channel, right? He has the V-shape pattern. I don't know why that's relevant. But he speaks a lot about the total 3 minus USDT divided by Bitcoin to see if altcoins are, how they do against Bitcoin. I think, like I said before, the chart is not really that accurate as you do include USDC and all these other stable coins. So you could better look at, right, this chart that we just showed. This excludes stable coins. So it's more relevant, I think. But then again, he says that the altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair should at least go to this point right here. Now, could it? It could. Oh, it's possible, right? But I would say if you bet on that, you are not playing this game the right way. Then you are basically saying, hey, despite every metric and everything out there, I'm just having that as my target and I'm going to try to time that bottom if that bottom comes. Good luck. Missing out can make you FOMO into high prices and it will wreck you, right? So I do think that people can actually fucking lose their money by following this thesis, right? If this is not going to play out. There could be a chance that it's going to play out, but again, we don't know. And are you going to bet your money on a handicapped horse right here? I don't think it's wise. But yeah, we'll see. Look, on the weekly, it looks like if this week, and that's not that long anymore, it closes above this trend line, we at least have a breakout. Right here it was fake out, but then we at least have a breakout. So that's already something, right? Apart from that, weekly, we got a cross to the upside. Like, look, the last time, and this is not always on the weekly suggesting an alt season, right? But on the weekly, it at least, whenever it does cross, even in such a fake out cross, it does show that altcoins have a temporary good release against Bitcoin. Relief, right? Here, they went up, I don't know exactly where the wick is, that's here, 20%, right? This one was not great, right? This one went up with 6%, and that's it, right? So that was a real, like, kind of fake out. This one went up with 9%. This one right here went up with 50%, right? So, and if you go back, yeah, let's be fair, we also had a cross right here, and that was leading into a big alt season. So it also kind of depends on the stage of the market, and I think that we are now closer to this than still this. But again, is this a guarantee that alts will outperform Bitcoin right now? This on its own, out of context, no, definitely not, right? You could have a 6% fake out or whatever, right? But then still, going up 6% is more than going down to this level. But again, combining it with every other thing that we just looked at, and this is also saying like, hey, we just confirmed, right? And it could also lead to a 50% pump or an alt season. I don't see a reason to be bearish on this chart. Not a single one, actually. Not, and I respect Ben a lot, but please watch out with this. Just because your favorite YouTuber has a target here based on whatever's left of his thesis, right? I will be careful with that. Yeah, it's not about him, but I know that a lot of people are watching this chart. And again, you know, that it was the range low last cycle doesn't mean that it should be the range low guaranteed this cycle. That's not how it works. If you applied that on, for example, the Bitcoin dominance last cycle, right, and you were waiting for this to go here, yeah, good luck, right? So a lot of these charts are now showing that they have all the bullish momentum in their favor. And with some, it's still a little waiting, but it's heading at least into the right direction. Now, what's also interesting, what else do you want to see go down? The USDT and USDC dominance. We spoke about that. It looks like crap, and yeah, it looks more even more terrible right now. Actually, if you look at this, you can see that this also had a cross on the monthly, and this has nothing to do with new money inflow. This simply means the current USDT and USDC in the market is getting deployed into anything else in crypto, whether it be Bitcoin, stable, or stables, this stable, Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, whatever. Right? Yeah, it already looks terrible. Right? On the shorter time frame, you'll know why. It's now sitting at horizontal support, right? It just came there again. You could say like, oh, double bottom. On a higher time frame, you could also say, hey, double top, right? If you're about these patterns, I don't know. But you can say like, or you can say like, hey, RSI tried to reclaim right here. And it was going up, right? People were taking profit in crypto. Everybody was bearish at this point. But it failed, and it's now going down. And now you see what happens. People deploy their stables like crazy. And on a bigger time frame, even the more explosive moves, we just got that cross to the downside again. And the last time that happened was actually here. And the time before that was here. And let's take a time before that. That was here somewhere. Right? It's in the middle of that month. What happened all these times? Here, this was November, December. Again, that was the big run that we had this cycle in the last year so far. The one and only run. This here, hey, December 2022, right? That was the end of the bear market. Bull market began, right? And here, in July 2021, stables were getting deployed like crazy. There was in the post-halving year, there was the bull market year. These were the only 3 times where it crossed like it just did right now. To me, it's inevitable that this chart will go back down here at least. Right? The last time it was there was in December 2024. Could you therefore say like, hey, altcoins will go back to their December levels? At least. Right, because now you must also realize that if you look at USDC plus, sorry, it's a long video, but I think it's really important actually myself. If you look at USDC plus USDT, you can see that compared to last November, December, it was $170 billion. November, right? Actually, November, that's where the run started. It was $150 billion in stables. Now there's $223 billion in stables. So that kind of means that there are $70 billion more to be deployed in the crypto market, right? And it looks like that money is about to get deployed because this was kind of the smallest move that we ever had when we got that cross. So going up, based on this, going back to the December highs is the least we should expect from this move. Now, keep in mind though, looking at all these charts on the monthly, right? If something goes down next week, it doesn't mean that this is invalid. Whatever happens next week doesn't even affect these charts. This is kind of showing probably how things will look like for the rest of this cycle, or at least the coming months. Depends if it's right translated or not. But this all kind of suggests that it's going to get fucking nuts. That's, I think, the official term for all of this, right? And being bearish right now is I think a very dangerous play. Now, what to buy? Right? Yeah, I hope you are already well positioned, actually, because like again, if you look at the April lows, for example, and you take a buy in Cardano or whatever, right? You could have bought at 50 cents, right? It's now 73, right? And then again, last cycle, would you have regretted if you bought at 50 cents right here, or at 73 cents instead of 50 cents? No, I mean, it still went to $3. You made fantastic gains, right? Yeah. However, it could make a big impact. So the absolute lows, like I think that if we get there again, that's the moment where you should tell your wife, like, hey, sorry, but I might be a little cranky because I just lost a kidney, because that will be the opportunity, basically, if we get there again. But in all honesty, I doubt it if we get there again, right? But a lot of alts look fantastic. Cardano on the dollar pair got the cross, right? Exactly off of this level. You cannot make this up, right? But it's what it is. Yeah, I would say go to your individual alts and look like, hey, which coins are close to it, because they are at least primed to get a sick momentum. Render, not there. Heading into the right direction, right? AVAX, pretty close actually, right? Solana, not there yet. Near, heading into the right direction as well, right? So a lot of individual alts, they don't look that good yet. However, an Aave already crossed. Aave, big outperformer, crazy. Dogecoin, close to crossing. Doge on its Bitcoin pair, heading into the right direction. Also, Doge, man, dude. Like I might be the Dino Factory for the coming months. Actually, ADA, Doge, they all look fantastic, right? XRP looks a little less good, actually, in my opinion, but that's more. I'm talking about the potential looks less good, right? Because XRP already had its run and the cross happened, and now it's more like, hey, it went down, it's up again. Okay, it's fine right now, but I don't think that that's where the most upside is. Compared to the ISP holders, congrats to the ISP holders. Why the fuck you been holding this? I don't know. But you got that cross. Congratulations, right? So that's looking fantastic. So we know a lot of history, I guess. Now, super, heading into the right direction. So you see, for a lot of alts, it could still throw a curveball, but it is heading into the right direction. And the boring Dino coins, Link, it's getting there, right? And if you look at this chart for Chainlink, I would also feel like, oh, okay. What you can do, to wrap it up with, sorry, but I don't make a lot of videos anymore. You should get 5 in 1 right there. What you can do is say like, hey, whenever we got that cross, what's the average move? Here we got 180%, right? Here we, that was that cross. Here we got that cross as well, right? Was from this point, right? That was a 280%. Come up with an average, right? And I think it's pretty high in this case. Right? And now you could say like, hey, Chainlink, to break out of this level, we need 90%. 90, right? That would be bearish compared to the past. So will this make Chainlink, in this case, break out? Yeah, you can bet that if a boring, high cap coin breaks out like that, that altcoins gain their momentum again. Again, I remember a lot of people saying like, whoa, we need something in order to make altcoins go out. Price go up is the best marketing. Bitcoin automatically goes up. It's because it is Bitcoin. Doesn't need a better reason than that, right? If Bitcoin goes up, people take their profits, they put it into altcoins, and once altcoins go up, the outsiders come, they look, and they be like, fuck, altcoins go up, let's buy. That's the only narrative we need. Now, let alone if we also get rate cuts, QE, you know, all these things that I've just mentioned, that will turn around. That will put some nitro in their ass, right? But again, like I said before, we don't need much. I fucking hope you were here in April as well, right? Because it all played out and it looks like it just started. One last, others, right? Also a chart that we looked at quite a lot, but now we have the total 3 ES, and I think that's more accurate, but others, everything outside of the top 10, so the more lower gaps, like how are they moving? Well, they crossed. Right? Beautiful. And again, last cross was in October, November. Cross before that, bull market happened. We just got it again. Not a guarantee that we will see 5X's again, but keep in mind, don't be surprised if we do, right? Because you have it right here. Yeah, and of course, the total crypto market also crossed, so that's looking fine. And I honestly think that anything below 5 trillion is, you should be banned for footing. You should be banned from the internet, definitely. So, yeah, Very bullish video, I know, but I hope within this hour I provided you with enough reasons to explain why, right? Because this all looks fantastic. And again, what's gonna happen tomorrow, next week, I have no freaking clue. I have no clue. But I do know, stay away from this kind of stuff. It is not gonna help you. I don't like it at all. Join our Discord. We have been giving you so much alpha, exclusive videos. I've been doing one-on-one calls to perfectionize people's portfolio. So if you want, you can chat with me, you can call with me, we can go over that. Is it too late? No. I think that this is kind of just getting started, and it all makes sense also when you look at the seasonality. And maybe in a year people will say like, hey, the cycle just played out as usual once again. Yeah, because in the middle of it, it always feels different. It feels terrible because it takes a long time, and that's understandable. But here we are, right? July, post-halving year, Bitcoin, price discovery, altcoins getting their signals that have always sent them to the fucking moon. Yeah, don't say that it doesn't make sense what's happening right now, right? So that's it. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. Let's enjoy these gains, man. It's fantastic. See you soon, guys.